it was a fun game on Saturday and a great win for us and our ninth win, and it was a fun way for our seniors to finish at home. I thought the fans gave them a great send-off. They've given us a lot of great memories in their 4 and 5 years here, and it was a good way for them to finish. You look at the game itself, if you didn't care about defense, what a great game. People just running up and down the field, super plays and fun plays and exciting plays and good for ABC. So it was something that usually the Texas Tech games come down to anyway, and that's a lot of points and a lot of people knocking people around. We won the explosive plays 12-12, or we tied the explosive plays 12-12, and that was good for us offensively, and they got too many offensively. We won the takeaway ratio 2-1, and we really did much better because we made 4 fourth down situations, which are keeping possessions, and we also ended up stopping them on fourth down. So there's really 6 or 7 different possessions that we either got back or maintained because of fourth down situations. Offensively, it was a very good performance for us. We were balanced. We came out and were able to run the ball really well with Jamal at the first of the ball game. He's in a form right now that's the best I've seen him since he's been at the University of Texas. He's physical. He's running north and south. He's taking care of the football and running with a lot of confidence. And it was a real sad moment for us to lose Tony Hills for the year. And it was a draw play where somebody just fell into the back of his leg, and he has the fracture. And hopefully he'll be back ready for the combine and still be a high-round draft choice. We do not think that'll affect his draft status. But losing the core of your leadership in the offensive line with Tony and Dallas Griffin over the last 2 weeks made it very difficult in that huddle. But we're very proud that Buck Burnett came in and played so well. And Chris Hall, and he moves out to tackle, and Adam Ulatowski and Chris ended up being our 2 most valuable offensive linemen in the ball game because they played so well. Jermichael Finley continues to play well. Vondrell McGee came in when Jamal sprained his ankle and really stepped it up and continued to keep us on the field and keep us running the football well. Colt had probably his best game, not only for production but toughness and leadership, and he just continues to get better each week in that area. The wide receivers had an outstanding game blocking downfield. That's something that we're doing as well as we've done since 2004 now. And that's why we're having more explosive runs than we felt like than we were having at this time last year. And offensively, we had very few mistakes. And we did have 4 fourth down conversions, which against Tech you need to maintain the football. And we had the ball for over 40 minutes. Defensively, we tackled much better. We played with a lot of emotion. We had the fast start. The first series was a 3 and out. We hold them on a fourth down stop on the goal line, which gives us, it's like a turnover when you get the ball back, a change of possession after fourth down. And we felt like that the turnover led to points. So we did a lot of good things on defense until about 6 minutes and a half left, and it was like we felt like the game was over, and defensively we relaxed and did not play well for the last 6 minutes, and we were very disappointed in the way that we finished, and it took away from the great performance that they had through 3 quarters. And with the ability of Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree, you cannot relax, and we're not good enough right now to think the game's over, and it made the game even look closer than it should have been. The kicking game was very productive for us. We did have the fake field goal that led to a touchdown. We had the sky kick that was called by Oscar Giles and Larry McDuff again that was on the ground, and Curtis Brown got it, which led to points. We also recovered the 2 onside kicks, and I think Mike felt with 5:51 or something left to go he needed the onside kick because they weren't stopping us, and we understood that, but we scored touchdowns after both of those, and there was only 1 punt for either team. And Oscar Giles is a father this morning. He and Kim had a baby girl last night, so that's supposed to be good luck, I think, and we asked him to go ahead and do that this week so he could get that done. The A&M game is one of the best rivalries in college football, and especially in state. It's about the state of Texas. It's about high school football in the state of Texas. It showcases our players. like it does at Tech and Baylor, but this game's a national TV game, so it even more highlights what the traditions around Thanksgiving in this state really, really are. It splits families. There's no question that there are a lot of people that don't speak for the next 10 days and don't enjoy their turkey one way or the other. It's a game where people are really proud of both schools, and we feel like that there's a lot of respect from both schools, but we also know how important the game is. Felt like they were more physical than we were last year in this ball game. It was very, very disappointing for us. They ran the ball for 277 yards last year and kept the ball for about 38 minutes. The year before with the option, they kept it for 35. So the physical nature of the game last year is something that got our attention, and we have to be much more physical this year than we were at this time last year. Our guys get really excited about going to Kyle Field because of its history and its tradition and the great fan base that they have there. And it's a fun game for us, a challenging game for us, but a place that they really enjoy going to play because they know how hard it is to win over there. Our schedule will be that we will practice today, we will practice tomorrow, we'll give the guys off Friday and Saturday. They'll come back Sunday. We'll practice on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and our Wednesday will be like a normal Friday or Thursday, and then Thursday will be Friday, and we'll get ready for the ball game on Saturday. No, we're not staying in College Station.
Some thought it was a little too physical, though, last year with the way the game ended and whatnot. If y'all patch things up, will you tell your players, this is not a revenge situation, exactly how we get
No, we don't get into revenge situations. We're trying to win number 10 and trying to see what's out there for us at the end. In fact, the kids have been really good. They know that we haven't earned the right yet to be talking about anything after this ball game, and the A&M game is really, really important to us, and the history of the game shouldn't it shouldn't be something that reflects one hit at the end of a ball game. It's about something more important than that for all these kids.
Coach, could you talk about the physical toughness of Stephen McGee and what he brings to the game?
Yeah, Stephen was a great player in high school that we tried to recruit, and he was a great passer and runner, and he's got great feet. And I think Jordan told me he runs like 4.3, 4.4 or something. He's real fast, faster than people would think at quarterback, and he's done a great job for them. He's won a lot of football games, and you go back and watch the Nebraska game. I think he rushed for 167 yards. You watch our game last year, the 97 or 8 yard drive at the end of the ball game to win the game was about him. So you take he and the J Train and Michael Goodson. They're really, really good at what they do, and they've got 3 NFL prospects in the offensive line, and they're a talented offensive football team.
Coach, is it strange that for those of us who saw him in high school, that McGee gets criticized that he can't pass very well since he's such a passing quarterback in high school?
Well, it just depends on what you're trying to do to win, and he is a team guy, and even Colt this year knows that we have to run more than we did last year because of who we are, and he's taken that on his shoulders to win. So Stephen can throw it when he needs to, but they have been an option football team that's very physical and dominating the line of scrimmage and keeping the football away from people. Their punter's really good, so they've been able to play the field position game and made it hard on a lot of people.
How gratifying is it for you to see Jamal's progression from the beginning of the season until now, the stretch that you talked about that he's on now?
The reason that you coach is really to see young people make progress and feel better about themselves. And for Jamal to have the expectations he had to start the year, then have the tough game at Central Florida, the tough game at Oklahoma, endure some criticism, and handle all of that, listen to his coaches, go back to work, not be selfish, not get angry that we played Vondrell McGee more, and now end up being one of the best backs in the country is really gratifying for us to see him so happy.
Coach, you mentioned their option attack. What is it about them that makes them so successful against you the last couple of years running the ball compared to everybody else?
Well, 2 years ago, we didn't think Stephen was going to play, and they weren't running the option. So we totally planned on we planned on them throwing the ball, and so that was, we were grabbing and holding on there because we were saying, okay, here's your option responsibilities now. No, we weren't talking about this because it just changed. And last year we didn't play very well. I thought they were more physical than we were and played better, and I don't know why. but it was disappointing. That was one of the more disappointing games we've had since we've been here because it cost us a chance to play Nebraska for the conference championship.
Anything different, though, about their option attack compared to other teams?
No. A 295-pound running back and a guy that runs 4.2 outside and a quarterback that runs 4.3, which is all good.
Coach, let me piggyback on that. They're not really doing anything different than they did last year. I mean, they are really just pounding the ball. They're running the option. Kind of the same thing. They're using Martellus Bennett a little bit more than they did last year. What changes do you think, besides the toughness, that the defense is going to have to make to handle that?
They moved the ball so well against us last year with 277 yards rushing. I don't think they'll change anything against us, and what we've got to do is continue to improve and tackle better. I don't know that this team has played great at times, and we still haven't played a full game as well as we can play as a team with all three phases. So that's our challenge for this team. It's not about the other teams. It's really about us because we can still get better. The great thing about this team is we're 9-2. They've overcome so many things, but still aren't where we need to be. So there's a lot of things that can improve between now and next week, and that's our goal. Go back to fundamentals, tackle better, pursue better. Don't have moments where you feel urgency and you play great, and then there's moments where you don't play as well. Be consistently good for an entire game, and that's what we're trying to get.
Mack, you know this business can be difficult. Dennis Franchione has had a tough go at it this season. You feel for him?
No, Dennis has done a great job while he's at A&M. He's doing a great job coaching now, and I have a lot of respect for what they've done. Yeah, this time of the year, there's rumors about everybody, and it used to be football, it used to be recruiting season and spring football were the three seasons. We've added one. Let's talk about our coach, and that's part of the business. And Dennis has got a great staff. They've done a tremendous job, and we respect what they've done a lot.
Coach, this has been a unique year in college football, a lot of upsets. How would you characterize so far this year with one game remaining, how you felt about this team? And because it's been different, overcoming the 2 losses in a row, and where's your satisfaction level dealing with this team and this year?
Well, we started very poorly. We were inconsistent. We had a really good game against TCU, we felt like, and we had a really good game against Rice. So there were times that we played really well. Central Florida, we gave up way too many yards rushing to a good back, but it didn't matter. He got 291 yards rushing. That's unacceptable. Against Arkansas State, we had a chance to blow them out and stood and watched, we felt like, so we didn't finish the game offensively like we should have. And then you go to the 2 losses. We felt like we really we did some good things against Kansas State, but in the fourth quarter when we had to make plays, the 2 kicking game mistakes absolutely killed us, and then offensively we fizzled. And then since that time, we've been a pretty good football team, and we've played some good games. I think a lot of people put us in the casket and shut the top and put us down for dead, and this whole bunch keeps coming back. And you really have to like the fact that your team gets better and that they hung in there and they fought and they haven't given up. And that's what I didn't know who this team was. We didn't have an identity early in the year, and right now they're a scrappy team that's resilient, that's confident, and still can improve, but they know they can win, and I'm really, really proud of them, proud of the way they've come back, and that's what life's about. We all have some bad days. We all get knocked down, but the ones that get back up make it, and this team's gotten back up, and I'm really proud of them. Proud of them as any we've had.
Coach, can I ask you this? You talk about...
You can ask me anything you want.
You're talking about this stuff right now, and it's kind of the resolve of this team. Teams are usually a reflection of their coach. Is that part of the resolve that you try to instill in this team? And because it is part of life, and it's reflective of how people have to get knocked down and get back up. Is this something that you're trying to instill in the football program as a whole?
Well, it is. Short-term winning is really, really important for us, all of us, and it measures how successful your team has been. For a coach and coaching staff, 10 years from now, the way the players are living their life and the lessons they learned and the fact that they'll call you back or write you a note and say thank you is really what you coach for. And that sounds like coach talk. It sounds phony, but it really is. And one of the problems with losing is you get fired, and you can't be around the kids and help them. Another problem with losing is the experience is not as good. It is harder to get the players to listen to you when you lose, and it's harder to teach them the lessons of life that you want. And that's I've said it. I don't think the experience is good when you lose. And somebody asked me on the teleconference Monday, was I happy? I've been happy 9 weekends. I've been upset too. And when you win, even if the game's ugly, you can fix it easier than when you lose. But when you lose, you lose part of yourself, you lose part of your team. They lose part of their confidence, they lose part of their experience. And I think if this team could win 2 more games, they win as many as the 2005 seniors, which is the most we've ever had. And that'll be something that they can carry for the rest of their lives. And what they've got to understand, they got 2 more games. We'd hope 3, but something has to happen for us to get in a 3rd one. They got 2 more games to be remembered like this for the rest of their lives, and that's a tremendous amount of pressure on them. But life's about pressure. It's about how you handle your family and how you handle bad days in your life. Good days are easy. Handling bad days is what you have to do to make it, and that's what this team's done. So there's no better lessons. I'd rather them not have bad days, but it's unrealistic to think that they're not going to.
Coach, you mentioned Jamal earlier in the year took some criticism, worked through it. Who of his teammates that may have helped him through that time? Who is he close to on the team? He seems like he's got a very good relationship with Colt and some of these other guys.
I think that this team has become much closer, probably because of some of the off-the-field issues in the summer. And in reality, it's very difficult for the young guys that get in trouble. And short-term, it hurts your program. Long-term, because of the scrutiny, it makes you stronger. And it makes your program better, and it makes us tougher on them, and makes them understand that it's not going to work here. We're not going to have it. And it'll happen again. May happen tonight, may happen tomorrow, but if it does, we'll fix it and move forward. And I think all of those things pull this team closer together, so then when something's not working for a high-profile player, all the other guys pull together. The offensive lineman said it's not just Jamal's problem, it's our problem. And Colt said, hey, Jamal, I'm struggling some too. So it was a time where a lot of things weren't working, and I thought the coaches and the kids hung together at a time of adversity and played really, really well. And that no different than a family that's struggling and pulling things together. And we talk about family all the time, but that's what this stuff's really about. It's taking people with diversity and pulling them together as one, and that's a difficult thing to do.
Coach, you talked about how the season has gone. You played 11 weeks in a row. And is that tough on the team, having to go through that schedule?
Mike, it is really tough, and I think it's something that the Safeguards Committee needs to go back and look at. When we decided 12 games, I think it was decided so we'd have more money, very honestly. And I also talked to Dennis about it last year, but if this doesn't change, we may need to look, A&M and Texas may need to look at the possibility of having a short week for our game and having a game this Saturday and moving our open date back to midseason, because these kids are just beat down. They're tired. They're worn out. And it's really hard to practice this week, I'm sure, for either team, because there's no breaks. And then you work all summer. You go through 29 practices in 2 days, and then you start and hit each other so hard. And watching it last year, we had more injuries last year than we've ever had. We've had more this year than we had last year. I'm really concerned about kids. And we're going to have to look at what an open date means. I think we're probably all going to look at redshirting fewer kids. There are kids that we redshirted at the first of the year that we don't want to pull out now that need to be playing, and we didn't. And looking back doesn't help you any. Just waste your time and your breath. But next year, I'm not sure we won't just play everybody and say we'll redshirt you down the road if you need to be redshirted. But we're going to have to look at having more bodies available because of the physical nature of this league and this game and what's happened over the last 2 years.
We've joked about the open dates before your games as far as Oklahoma State, Kansas State, things like that. But can you tell a difference in the other teams? Not just before you, but having a break in the middle of the season.
There's no doubt. They're fresher. They've had 2 weeks to prepare, which is a huge advantage. Everybody says this coach, you give him 2 weeks to prepare, he's unbelievable. Well, I guess. I mean, you got an extra week. That ought to help you. And you put in new things. I mean, Kansas State and Oklahoma State came out with stuff we didn't even see in the first 3 games of the first 6 games, and then you're catching up all the time. So we think it's a tremendous advantage, and it's a difficult thing for our league and for Texas because we're on TV all the time. So they schedule us for TV in many cases, and it's a problem trying to figure out where to put who. And then you see Auburn playing Tennessee Tech last week. You see LSU playing Louisiana Tech. I think some of the teams now are playing some teams from 1AA at that point of the year to try to get a little bit of a break so they can play more people and not have the same intensity on their team too. So everybody's trying to look at it, I feel like, and studying scheduling across the country and see what we need to do.
When did you usually have your off week at North Carolina?
Oh, I don't remember, Mike. It was, but we had 11 games, and, it wasn't as big a deal. You had your 3 out-of-conference games to start with, but I was thinking it was never before Duke. We always finished this weekend with Duke, and we didn't have a championship game, so things are just different. You could play 14 games now, and it's just we're like a pro team now. It's what we are. College football's become more like that, and it's driven by money. It's driven by ratings. I understand all that. We need the money across the country for all the other sports, and we just have to make sure that we're taking care of the football kids at the same time.
So you're saying you'd rather have maybe a short week this week and have a mid-season off week and have it used to be Texas used to play Baylor and then A&M 5 days later.
Yeah, I think it's something that Coach Franchione brought up to me the last 2 years, and I wasn't sure. But I think after watching the last 2 years, I think he's got a great point. I know A&M had been talking about it, and I'm not speaking for him, but I know that it's something that we all should look at in my estimation, because the difference is 1 day or a full week off. And I know 4 or 5 weeks ago we would have liked to have had a week off just to let some people rest. And we're having to be more careful this week in practice than we normally would this time of the year, just because of so many guys that are hurt that may or may not be back, but they got hurt shoulders, they got hurt ankles, we can't practice like we need to, and it's part of, I think it's part of the college football nature. I watch TV now, and at the bottom you're seeing so many more kids. He's out for the year, and the safety of the kids is the most important thing.
Coach, their linebackers, obviously teams have brought the house against Colt this year. Just address maybe Gary Darnell's philosophy, the way you've seen how he handles maybe that.
Yes, we only had Gary for 1 game last year, and we didn't play well. We had 250 yards offense and didn't stay out there very much, and we played okay the first half, and we missed a 4th and 1. We had a jump ball in the end zone that was an interference call that we ended up not even getting points out of. So we felt like we had some opportunities in the first half we didn't capitalize on. Gary did a good job of showing blitz and backing out a lot and trying to confuse Colt. Gary's a good coach. He's been around a long time, and Bill Clay's on that staff. They've got a great staff. Bill Clay and I coached together at Southern Mississippi in the 70s. So, I go back with something. Gary Darnell was the head coach at Tennessee Tech and best friends with my mother, and, of course, he coached here. So, and he's been a head coach at Western Michigan as well. So a lot of those guys have got a lot of great experience.
Coach, I can't resist asking you this question. We did some research at FSN about to check with our stats people. Since the NCAA implemented overtime in 1996, you've been a Division I head coach every one of those years and have never been to an overtime game. I think it's an interesting stat. I just have no idea what it means. What does that mean?
I don't have any idea. I thought at Oklahoma State there was a chance for the first time, and I don't know. I really don't know. It's interesting. I think Dick Tomey's been in 7 or something, and all of a sudden you look up. I've never even seen one in live. I've seen them on TV, but I have no interest in getting in one. And we work on it. We talk about it all the time. We work on it because it's probably a disadvantage that we've never been to one. Hopefully it means we've won most of those close games at the end. We didn't have to.
Well, and of all, I think there's 14 or 15 D1 coaches that haven't been to an overtime game, but all of those other coaches have been at their schools or have been coaching for maybe 2 years, 3 years. Mike Stoops is 4. He's the longest. And then there's you at 12. Nobody else is even close. So I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know
to
either.
Avoid them, but you seem to be doing something.
Well, I don't like them. Fans like them. I don't like them. I don't like field goals unless we're winning, and I don't like overtimes. So we're going to stay as far away from them as we can.
That's what I was waiting for.
Coach, Kyle Field, maybe a little bit different road atmosphere than you guys have seen this year. With so many young players, is that something that you talk to them about? Does it take extra mental preparation or anything like that?
No, our guys like that. To be successful here, you have to win tough games on the road, and we've done that. It's been something these guys have taken tremendous pride in, and I really think they're excited about playing A&M because of what it is. A lot of them came here for the A&M game, the Oklahoma game. That's one of the reasons you come to Texas, because they see those games growing up and they're excited about them. They're both national TV games before the season starts, and our guys, for whatever reason, I've been asked a lot. I don't know why they like playing on the road, but they really like it, and they love trying to quiet a crowd, and they love fighting the odds, and it's probably something that I said early here that the best moment for me as a football coach around the game is in the dressing room or on the bus or on the plane with a team on the road that's overcome all the odds of a road game with the crowd and a home game for the other team, and that's a great moment because they have absolutely no distractions, and they're really happy after a win on the road, and that's a moment where you've just got them by yourself. Here they scatter. And they leave fast, and you don't see them after a ball game. But you've got them for an hour and a half after the game, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it takes you to get home, and you can really enjoy that moment with them. And likewise, if you lose, you got to be around them for 3 hours, and you don't like them. So it's just part of the deal. But they will really be excited about going to Kyle Field. And most of our guys were recruited by A&M and went to games over there, so they've been to the stadium before. So I don't think it's like going to Ohio State or Michigan where they've never been.
Coach, can you talk about the roles of some of the injured seniors, guys that have played huge roles on the field? Tony Hills, Dallas, Limas. What is their role now? Is that something that you've talked to them about?
Well, it's very sad short term for Dallas and Tony and Limas not to have been able to play for the full game last Saturday, not to be able to go to A&M, not to be able to go to the bowl game. But when they look back at their careers, Tony Hills has been as good an offensive lineman as we've ever had, and he'll be a high draft choice. Hopefully Dallas will get to play, but if not, he's one of the 15, quote, smartest, best students starting in student athletes in college football this year, and gets a chance to go to the Hall of Fame, and will have his name in the Hall of Fame for the rest of his life. And Lima Swede's a record breaker really in 3 years, because he didn't even get to play this year, and he tried his best and couldn't. And all of those guys now will be emotional leaders for us, and they're staying with the team. I'll never forget, after the Oklahoma State game, I see Dallas Griffin sitting in the corner crying. And I asked him about it, and he said, Coach, I'm not crying because I got hurt. I'm crying because I'm so happy that we came back and won, because it gives us a chance to finish right. And I thought, what an unbelievable statement from a young guy who just finished his career with his knee, and he knew it was torn at that time. And then for Tony, after the game, Tony was high-fiving guy that was in the end zone after the game, and then in the dressing room, he was up. He couldn't dance because he was on crutches, but here's a guy that's a pro prospect with a fracture, and he's cheering the crowd on the way out. And I thought it was a really emotional moment for the fans to say thank you, Tony, and for Tony to say, hey, thank you, and hit his heart and hold the hook'em sign up. Now, it's just what the emotion of college football is all about. So those guys are giving us a lot.
Okay, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, folks.